And I think we are live for the 25th? It's going to be 25th After Hours live stream. Welcome back, folks. If you're new, I appreciate you stopping in. Look, these are pretty laid back. They always are. I just sit here and answer questions. That's why I call it a Q&A. And then every now and then we do something a little different to change things up. So you'll still get to ask your questions. I have you guys right here in the chat. And so I'm looking at those. If you want to, what's going on, Trucker Bomb? I see those 3 stars looking good, my dude. So if you want to ask a question, feel free to do that. I actually have a pen and paper right here. I'm going to keep track of the questions that I see, the interesting questions, good ones that we haven't answered before, especially those I'm going to get to as soon as possible. But I do want to address the second part of this title, which this goes back. So if you guys watched the channel maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, I don't know how long it was ago. I think it was 2 years ago. We did a video with McLovin called Ghetto Studio, called Episode 1. And I've always wanted to go back and kind of like elaborate on that video, or that topic at least. I didn't want to keep showing the same office space or whatever you want to call it, but basically people setups that aren't the prettiest. Maybe they're not the nicest in the sense that, like, you know, the parts are cheap and they've got stuff all over the place and just weird configs. And that's kind of what I want to showcase. See, a lot of channels have gotten their, you know, Pepsi's clawing at the door. A lot of tech channels in the past have gotten notoriety from promoting builds and setups that look really good. But I want to take a different spin on this. I want to highlight builds that need a lot of work, and that's why it's called Ghetto Studio. Now we have a playlist for this. There's only one video in it. It's McLovin's video, but I do want to do something like a giveaway or something with that, and I want to make it either a weekly or a monthly thing. So here are my thoughts, and you guys let me know what you think. Because I think this would be a cool way to get engaged and to be more active and be more hands-on, at least with the content that you see. So my thoughts were, 1, we're going to have video submissions, and how you're going to submit those, you're going to upload those videos to your YouTube channel. Okay, so if you have a YouTube channel, great. If you don't have one, it takes 10 seconds to set up. And then it doesn't matter how you film it. Honestly, if you film it on your camera, that's fine. Like, it doesn't have to be professional at all. I don't expect you to have $2,000-$3,000 cameras sitting around. And I want you guys to take just 1 minute and film your setup, kind of show me around your room, or at least the space that you want us to judge. Show us inside your build, tell us what's in your system, and try to crunch. You can usually crunch that down to a minute. Try to keep it within a minute time frame, and we'll publish this all officially in a real video soon. These are my thoughts, and I want you guys to give me feedback on that. So if you have all of that, you know, in a video, then I'll review those, and I'll pick the sketchiest, like 4 or 5. I think we're going to do 4 at a time. And if you're not selected the first week we do these or whatever, don't worry, we'll still recycle those, and I'll pick more from the next set. So as long as the setup is not like super clean. That's not the point here. We're going for the setups that need improvement. Because then what we're going to do, we're going to judge those. And my goal with the judging is I want you guys to be totally in charge of who gets selected to be the winner, which I guess is also the loser, as it means you have the worst setup, but you get to win something too. So depending on how you want to do it, if we do this on a weekly basis, then we can probably do, I'm thinking around $100 per week per winner. And so what we'll do is say, you're the winner, which means you're the loser. You have the most sketchy, most ghetto setup. Here's $100. Go improve your setup somehow. And then maybe we'll get to see pictures of like custom cables or something. Or maybe you cleaned it up and you went and bought yourself, you know, a really nice meal for cleaning up your studio. I really don't care how you spend it. You can spend it on whatever you want. But by that point, you know, you're already going to be the winner for that week, having the most ghetto setup. So there's a chance to win cash. Obviously, if you have a really nice setup already, you probably don't need the money to improve your setup anymore. That's not what this series is intended to do. It's actually supposed to help those who either don't have the money or just don't care. Maybe this will be a little kick in the butt to get started on cleaning up your system a little more. Take pride in your work. I mean, especially if you built it yourself, take pride in it. So, I want you guys to give me some feedback. I have the comments here. And yes, so Glitch Tech's Sketchy Builds. That's why it's called Ghetto Studio. That's the name of the playlist. And on that playlist, my goal is to have roughly every week 4 contestants, 4 people who submitted video, who uploaded videos to their YouTube channels, send their links to me either via email or via Twitter. Excuse me. And then from there, I'll pick 4 that I think are super ghetto. I'll showcase all 4, kind of run through my own thoughts there, and then I'll post all 4 up on Twitter, and we'll have a poll. And straight up, the build or the setup that gets the most amount of votes is the most ghetto for the week, and the winner will win $100 basically. And the cool thing about it being cash or money is that I can send it to anybody. So as long as you have a PayPal account, which you should. If your country doesn't have PayPal, we'll work something else out. But as long as you have a way of receiving money safely, then you'll be able to win. So it's not like a component where if you live in, like, I don't know, Afghanistan or something that, like, it's really difficult for people in the States or elsewhere to send you stuff, then maybe just the money transfer online will be easier. So we're not basically singling out certain countries that have shipping restrictions and stuff. And that's why international giveaways are so difficult to do. So, someone said the chat in the stream isn't moving. That's true. I noticed that now too. What the heck is going on? Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna recopy and paste the chat pop out. That's really strange. Okay, yep, all right, should be working now. Thank you for pointing that out, though. I didn't notice that earlier. Okay. So, yeah, making sure that it looks right in the stream. Okay, yeah, we're good, we're good. From the Verge, Bazinga. That's a good point, though, Bazinga. So to make sure that these submissions are genuine, I'm going to have you guys put, like, a special... I don't know, a special number or something in your picture. So if I select your video, then to make sure that it's your video, I'm going to have you take a picture in front of that build with holding like a certain number, kind of like what you do on eBay. And that way I can be sure that it's you submitting the build, that you're actually in front of your system. If it's your friend's system, whatever, that's fine. Try not to be super shady. I can't make it foolproof, but just be honest with it. And to be honest, I mean, there's one winner a week, and we're going to be doing these, I assume, at least 40 weeks a year, maybe more than that. So your chances of winning something, of winning $100 at some point, are pretty high. Now, I don't know how long I can do this. My goal is to eventually have sponsors to cover these videos every week. Honestly, in the grand scheme of things, $100 for a sponsored spot isn't really that expensive. So I think we can get it done. Worst case, I'll just pay out of pocket for a while until we get those things rolling. So we'll see. I put Ghetto Studio. Yeah, that's a good idea, Trucker Bomb. But I'm thinking something, I mean, because you could really do it with anybody's system. I think I want to do a specific number. That way I know for sure that it's that person submitting it. So, yeah. So, Sharik, the keyboard, the mouse, I want all that in the video, like the little showcase walk around that you do. So it's an entire setup, basically. It's a Ghetto Studio. Studio is whatever you're using in your workflow to get things going. Bazinga, thanks again, my dude. When is Lisa coming over? I ask as dinner is on me. Lisa she's gonna be coming back soon. Look, with immigration, it's not easy. It's a very long process, and we might talk more about that soon. We've talked about it before on the live streams. But she is just back in Germany, just doing her thing. I'm doing my thing. We're calling every day, and that's really all we've been able to do for the past year and a half. So it's something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. It really sucks. But she'll be back here probably, I would say, November-ish time frame. I might be going there soon. I don't know. But if I do, then we'll do something really creative. Andrew Wright, good question, Andrew, for the age limit of the giveaway. So here's how I've always done this in the past, and I'm pretty sure I've been in the clear legally by doing this. So following YouTube terms of service, state laws, stuff like that, we have a minimum age for the giveaway at 18. But if you're under the age of 18, all you gotta do is have your parent or guardian enter for you. So if they enter on your behalf, if they're the ones filming or whatever, I mean, honestly, I just want to make sure that I'm sending them the money for their submission. But I mean, whatever they do with the money after that is up to them. You guys catch my drift? So if just have a parent or guardian submit it for you, and we'll figure that out if it's really going to come down to that. But I think we'll be okay if we do it the way we've always been doing it. So if you're 18 or older, you have no problems at all. If you're under the age of 18, again, parent or guardian represent you, and you'll be fine. Let's see. So, Alex, the giveaway, if you just tuned in, Alex, you got to rewind the live stream. I just talked about it. Perks for being here early, right? So if you guys want to give me any feedback, I will appreciate it. I think what we're going to do is stick to a week at a time right now, and I'm going to try to keep the giveaways to $100 a piece. But again, you got to do the work for it. So you actually have to submit. You got to give me a video that I can actually watch, that I can post to the channel for other people to see if I select you to be in the top 4 for that week. If we don't have enough submissions per week, then we'll move it to a monthly thing. It's just something that we're going to have to kind of feel out. So it's entirely experimental. I don't know how well it'll work. I don't know how interested you guys will even be. But I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be kind of cringy, but that's okay. You know, like that's the point, is if you win, you get to improve your system. And even if you don't win, excuse me, I'm still going to give you constructive feedback. So I'm going to tell you ways you can improve your system based on what I see in your videos. So we'll see. Okay, so again, if you have any other, if you guys want to come back later when this video is archived and leave comments, then I can check those out. I'll make notes as well. But I think I have the framework basically set up at this point. I don't see any immediate objections. So we're looking pretty good here, I think. Okay, Stefan R, no I didn't, I don't know what that is. Wizard Core is a $400 Australian or $290 USD for a 1070, a good used deal. It's going to depend ultimately on the market. $290 for a 1070 here in the States isn't that great if it's used. You could get 1070s here in the States for as low as like $240. So knowing that in the back of my head, I wouldn't pay more than about $250 for a 1050 at this point. Excuse me, 1070. And then about $220-ish for a 980 Ti, which is comparable. And then in Australia, I know things are generally more expensive. Shipping, import, tariffs, taxes, all that crap. So I would say you're probably on the upper echelon. If that's considerably cheaper than what you can buy it new for, put it this way, then that should be fine. Okay, so scrolling down here. Simon, good question. So he asks, can you try your luck multiple times? And the answer to that is you'll do that anyway every week. You don't have to submit or resubmit your videos every week. So to prevent people from spamming me, if I get the same video submitted like 4 or 5 times, I'm just going to invalidate your entry. I will archive every video that is submitted as long as it's not a repeat of the same video that was sent earlier. And I'll have those in like a little library. So if we don't have, let's say, enough unique entrants for that week, or maybe I really like your Ghetto build, but it just didn't make the cut the week before, I'll still put it in the next week or maybe the next week. So I'll keep referring back to those if they haven't already been submitted, which is good for you guys because let's say a certain week we don't have any more people submitting PCs, then the people who have already applied are going to have that much better of a chance of being in that week's feature. So you don't have to submit multiple times. It's kind of automatic because I'll have them on hand and I'll know which ones I've already entered into the contest and which I haven't. So that'll be good. Jeff Phillips, it's not a photo, it's a video. Excuse me, that's the key. That's what I want to be different than just showing pictures like side shots and stuff. Other channels do that, but we want to make it more or less into a giveaway thing, but I want to be able to show people video because I want you to show me your entire setup, not just your PC. I want to see your monitors, I want to see your peripherals, I want to see your chair, your desk, what you're using for a desk. I used a dresser for a long time as a desk. You know, if you guys need ideas, if you think your studio or setup is you know, comparable to McLovin's in our Ghetto Studio video, the only one in that playlist, then you should enter. I think you'll have a good chance of being featured. Frog, where do we submit? Stay tuned. That's going to come in a video announcement this week. So I will have I'm going to set up a separate email specifically for the entry. So if you submit your entry to my business email, I'm not going to open it. I'm just going to throw it in spam. I get tons of emails already, most of them which are already spam. So don't send it to my business email. I'm going to have a separate email for entry so I can keep all of that separated. And then we'll also have multiple submission script running to make sure that nobody is submitting the same thing 3 or 4 times over the course of a month or whatever. And yes, PR Arts International, like I said earlier in the live stream, it's a cash giveaway. So you're going to get $100 cash. I'm just going to transfer it to you via PayPal or whatever we deem is safe. And that's my way of keeping it international because it's shipping stuff to, I used Afghanistan before, but like, you know, Mongolia or some place that's like just difficult to get stuff to, relatively speaking, then it's kind of unfair for those people. So money transfers over the web, it's easy, usually secure, and we'll be fine. Sam Sanchez, no, you cannot submit your PC if it's not done yet. It has to be on and running. Good point. So your system has to be working. And I'm writing these down as I speak. So it must be working on your desktop. Like just have your desktop open. All of these rules, by the way, will be in the description of the video that specifically announces this giveaway. And look, you know, remember that this is supposed to be a Ghetto Studio setup. So if you have really nice stuff, don't bother entering because you're not going to be included in it. It defeats the whole purpose of the theme. Like if your setup is really nice and it's not ghetto, then it's not going to go in the Ghetto Studio playlist. This is only for people who think they have setups that are a little cringy. Maybe they need some work. You know they need some work. Cable management's not that great. Maybe you just have a really dirty work area. That's the kind of ghetto I'm talking about. Again, watch McLovin's video in the Ghetto Studio playlist if you need ideas. I don't want you to stage this whole thing, but if you're curious as to whether or not you qualify, just watch that video. If you do anything like he does, I would deem that pretty sketchy. So that would make you a valid entry. Delos, again, well, you probably didn't hear it when you typed that in, but what I just said answers your question, Dulos. Let's see. Okay. What about laptop users? No. Laptop, no. I'm not gonna. I don't think that's. No, I'm not gonna allow laptops because it's just too easy, and there's nothing. I mean, part of the whole Ghetto build process or Ghetto Studio idea is that the system itself is supposed to be a little messy. So if your system is perfectly clean, but you got clothes all over the floor, that's probably not going to count as an entry. Now, if your system is just old, it's rough, it's got no basement and cables are kind of everywhere, and you're using like a dining room table chair as a desk, or a dining room table as a desk, maybe like a dining room chair as a chair, whatever. You guys get my point, right? Like stuff that's just not traditional gaming stuff that you've just had to kind of use because that's all you have. I totally understand. Look, I was using a chair. I don't know if you guys know this, but like 2 years ago, I was using an old computer chair that my dad had for work from like 15 years ago. And like the whole bottom piece, like the whole bolster part on the bottom was completely ripped to shreds. The foam in there was like falling out. You couldn't see it because it was off camera, but it was right below the camera field of view. And I used my dresser as a desk. I used one of the drawers as like a holder for my keyboard, which at the time was a wireless like little membrane keyboard because that was all I had. Yeah, so those are some ideas. Just if you're in that ballpark, it probably constitutes as ghetto, I guess I should say. So yeah. And exactly, Nix and Mix, I think for reference, people got to see the McLovin vid for reference. Yeah, that's what I've been saying this whole time. You got to watch McLovin's video to know exactly what I'm talking about. if you have anything set up anywhere remotely close to how he does, then it's probably a little sketch. Let's see, Alex Padilla. It really, I mean, look, it's just what's in the video. I don't care if you have 4 builds and you don't want me to see the nice builds, you just have one sketchy build and you want to put that in the video, that's fine. But don't make it, if you make it weird and like you show me like your 5 systems and then you pan over to this ugly corner, I'm probably not going to validate that, because to me it just shows that you staged it, or like that you picked the worst of everything on purpose to make it look really bad so you could win $100. I'm going to be pretty, I'm going to scrutinize these, and I'm going to try to figure out who's genuine and who's not, just based on the video and kind of like the tour you guys give me. If you show me more, it's better, because it shows me you have nothing to hide. It's like, this side of the room's horrible, but this side of the room's really nice. Like, if you show me the whole room, even if it's your bedroom, I don't care. And if you don't want that stuff in the video, that's fine. I'll try to keep it to just the tech. But if you show me that, then I know that it's, oops, sorry about that. Then I know that it's, not staged, I guess I should say. Jeff, the cat, is outside because she climbs behind the desk and steps on the power cable, power strip back there. And everything gets shut off. That's happened more than once while I was playing PUBG. That answers your question, I guess, Bazinga. Thank you for that $5 super chat again. Let's see. Scrolling up. What's going on, Mr. KF Gaming? Look good with those 3 stars right there. It's MM says, LOL, bruh, why are you streaming at 5:20 a.m.? Because, bruh, I don't live in your time zone. That's why, bruh. I live in the central time zone. Sounds like you live in Germany 7 hours ahead, so you probably live east of Germany, I would say. Egypt area, maybe. Turkey. I don't know. I don't know where the time zone changes, but I know it's close to there. Anyway. Membrane keyboards do have their advantages, although I will say once you switch to mechanicals, it's really difficult to switch back and prefer it. Anyway, okay, so you guys know those are the general rules. I don't see too many objections with the rules. I think it'll be interesting. What's going on, Cody? I see you there. What's going on, No One? Again, if you missed all the rules, the things we were talking about earlier with respect to the Ghetto Studio giveaways, just rewind the live stream or wait till it's archived. We're also going to publish an official video outlining the official rules. They'll also be in the video description, and then I'll also give you the special email that we're going to use so you can submit your videos that you publish to your channels. So that's really it, I think. I think that's it with respect to Ghetto Studio giveaways. So now on to the questions. This is a good old-fashioned Q&A at this point. This is what we usually do in the live streams. But I'm here to help you guys out. Whatever you need, whatever questions you have that need answering, I will do my best to answer them, given the limited knowledge I have in this subject. I would say that if I don't know it, I'll go and research it. And if I still don't know it, then I'll ask somebody who has also researched it and see if they know the answer. It's MM. What about thoughts on RTX 2080 Ti? I literally have a video, like 3 videos talking about the RTX series. You should go watch those. Let's see. Andrew Wright. What's it like wearing glasses? I'm getting some soon. Any tips? Look, eventually glasses are like a part of your body. You just forget that you're even wearing them. I've gone to sleep with my glasses on before. I've showered with my glasses before just because I don't remember that they're on. I do wear contacts too, but usually only when I play sports or like I'm in the gym. If I'm outside at the beach or something, that's when I'll do it. Let's see. Streamer Man says you bias against laptops. He is a reason why you don't like laptops. I have a laptop that I use it all the time. The Huawei MateBook X Pro, a beautiful laptop. Doesn't make it a setup. A laptop to me is not a setup. You have to have monitors, a case, a specific build, like a custom build, not a laptop you can buy and everything's already there, and then keyboard, mouse, all the goodies. Laptop, you can use it in your lap, but a desktop requires a dedicated setup, dedicated space for that. That's why I'm discriminating against mobile computers. Okay, let's see here. James Hall says, don't swim with glasses. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Oh, Meow Meow asks, what do you think about the slim gaming laptops? I've seen a couple of them. I haven't tested any specific like thin Q laptop recently. I will say that I'm just not the biggest fan of 15.6 inch and 17-inch laptops. I really like the 14-inch form factor and slightly smaller than that. And that's really it. Like I said, the MateBook X Pro is like the perfect form factor for me. The MX150 in there, the discrete GPU, is good enough for what I need. I don't need to play hardcore PUBG on it or anything, but it'll run things decently. It's great for Adobe Premiere Pro, and again, it's tiny by comparison. It's got a beautiful screen, edgeless screen. Battery life is actually really good on it. I'm actually really impressed. From Huawei, I expected a lot worse, and I think it's probably the best Ultrabook right now that you can buy. And it's one of the most powerful Ultrabooks that you can buy. What's up, Tech Tuner Life says, yo, Greg. Okay, let's see. Michael asks, you think RTX 2080, 2080 Ti will improve with driver updates? Because 1080p is the same as 1080 Ti and FPS. Usually, I mean, if we look historically, driver updates usually account for 5 to 10% performance increase over the course of maybe a year. So I know for a fact when the 980 Ti and when the 1070 came out, and I tested the 980 Ti and the 1070. And remember, the Founders Edition 1070 was actually a really good card. It still is. If you want to buy one, if you can find it used, I recommend buying used. But those reference coolers, so to speak, are actually really good. And they're actually quite quiet unless you plan on like keeping your clocks really high all the time, which you don't really need to do because the frequencies are going to scale according to temperature overhead anyway. Those two cards were neck and neck, literally neck and neck. In some cases, the 980 Ti one, in some cases, the 1070 one. Now, with the most recent testing I've done, the 1070 is a slightly better card. I would say the frame rate disparity, if it was 0% before, is maybe 6 to 7% now, and that's after 2 years, right? So that's 2 years worth of driver updates, and that's not to say that the 980 Ti wasn't crippled at all. That might have been the case. New drivers tend to leave the old hardware behind, and that's the incentive, right, to buy the new stuff. NVIDIA wants you to buy the new stuff, so they may unintentionally cripple old hardware with new software. But I would say, under most circumstances, between 5 and 10% max, unless there's just like a terrible driver that's out there right when everyone benchmarks, which has happened before. But most of the time, 5 to 10. Okay, let's see. I'm going to scroll up here. I missed quite a number of questions. Okay, all right, here we go. Adam Stevenson, 2080 Ti prices later this year and the beginning of next year. I totally misread that question. Colton, opinion on 1080 Ti SLI with a Ryzen 7 1800X. Perfectly fine, perfectly viable if you're playing higher end 4K gaming. That's going to be a really sweet setup there. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if anything, your CPU is almost always going to be the bottleneck, unless the game is not SLI optimized, in which case you're just wasting one card. I've had my experience with SLI, and I would say it's hit or miss. Most of the time, I don't have an issue with it. But under a few circumstances, I've noticed terrible frame skipping and stuttering, and that all goes away when you disable SLI in the control center. So, anyway, okay, so let's see here. Kofasa asks or says, you should make a new bottlenecking video because people still don't get bottlenecking isn't 100% dependent on what parts they have. I have 2 videos on bottlenecking. They can go back and watch those videos. I'm not going to remake them again. That's why they're up there. They're up there forever, for as long as the channel exists and YouTube exists. You can go back and watch those. Let's see. Bob Humplick. God, I love these names. That whole NVIDIA stock drop thing was just so the brokers can buy a bunch of NVIDIA stock cheap. They know NVIDIA have a strong position, and NVIDIA dominates right now with respect to the AI. The AI field's just growing, and honestly, the applications there are probably endless. With tensor cores, RT cores, the ray tracing thing I think is going to catch on later. I don't think that's something that many people should be concerned about right now. If you bought Pascal and you're pissed that you bought Pascal instead of RTX, don't be. It's really, I mean, Turing is an expensive first release. And if there's one thing I've learned in my 23 years, which admittedly it's not a lot of time to gain experience, but I've learned that being the first person to do something is most of the time not the best way to approach it. You want to be the follower in that sense. You want to be the second or third implementer, because then you can refine the imperfections associated with the first release and make it that much better. And that's certainly not what we saw with things like PhysX. I mean, that definitely died out, but With respect to ray tracing, I do think that is the future. I think that's how games will eventually all be rendered. But the problem is getting old hardware, right, to keep up with those demands. And developers don't want to do that. So whenever I know Chris said earlier, he said something about developers catching on and stuff like that. Yeah, but Chris, that's not something that just happens overnight. I know you know that, but it's not something even that happens 2 or 3 years. You might have certain titles that are RTX dependent, but they're still going to have that option to turn off RTX, whatever that entails. DLSS, all this stuff that's just heavy on the system. And a majority of people, look at Steam surveys, a majority of people have 1060s and below on NVIDIA's side. GTX 1060s. Those cards are $200 to $300. They're not going to afford $700 cards, and by the time those cards are 4 or 5 years old, they're still probably going to be more expensive than what people in that range can afford. I don't expect we'll see 2080s and 2080 Ti's costing $200 to $300 for 5 years. I would be genuinely impressed if that was the case. Because people spend so much money on them in the first place, they're not going to want to let them go for that little, I guess I should say. So yeah. Chris agrees. RTX off will be really common for quite some time. Yeah, we can both agree on that. What's going on, Brian? Greg Moore, hey, I'm honest and listen to me. Hand gestures, please. Love the thumb. What? I gotta add Brian as a mod. I totally should have done that a while back. Brandon, is negative pressure in Lianli O11 dynamic really bad for temps? No, negative pressure, I've had my fair share of negative and positive pressure differentials. I would say, without doing much research on the topic, having a positive pressure in the case, meaning that the pressure inside the case is slightly higher than the environment, is slightly more ideal. For one, it keeps dust out. Dust tends to settle where air moves, and air moves into places that are less pressurized. So from a dust perspective, it makes more sense to keep it positive. And at the same time, I think that because you have, either way, right? If you have a vacuum and you're pushing air in, or you have a lot of air in here and it's pushing it out, you're going to get the same effect, the same flow, but at the expense of dust, a few other things. I would say in most cases the positive air pressure, slightly positive, you don't want hardcore positive, but slightly positive air pressure is probably the better option in a case. But if you're running slightly negative, like if you have all your fans pulling out of the O11 dynamic, you might want to change a couple of those to in, because remember your graphics card has to pull in air too. So you don't want to starve your graphics card for air. But it, of course, depends on the card, the clocks, and everything else. Shafat Zahid, do you think a Ryzen 5 2600 will bottleneck a 2070? If we assume a 2070 is equivalent to maybe a GTX 1080, then no. I think a 2600 is... that's a really good CPU for the money, first off. And I think that chip's gonna last 4 or 5 years and be a steal. You know how it was with like the Core i5, like the 2500, the Ivy Bridge stuff, what am I trying to think of? Ivy Bridge and not Haswell. You guys know what I'm talking about. Ivy Bridge and the other one. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of it? Sandy Bridge. That's what I was trying to say. Sandy Bridge. Yeah. Those CPUs are starting to be phased out now because IPC differences between that and like an 8700K pretty far apart. If you compare them core to core, the IPC difference is about 20 to 30%. It depends on the game and the application. And this would be the time at which I would say if you're on something like a 2500, then upgrading makes sense in my book. You don't have to upgrade and stay. You don't have to move on to the best from Intel. You could move to AMD and probably notice next to no difference between that and if you had chosen an 8700K. Now, as for the new stuff from Intel, not too sure yet. I don't want to speculate. There's a lot of rumors and stuff going around, and I really don't like diving into rumors because if I'm wrong, then everyone's like, ha ha ha, you were wrong. But it's just like, hey, I was just going off of what I knew. Whoop-de-doo, I'm wrong. So I just don't like fiddling with that. I like waiting for the facts or what appear to be facts. I will I will speculate if I know or if I have a really strong gut feeling that something's sketchy or that something is accurate based on multiple sources, multiple accounts. That's why I did what I did with NVIDIA, because the way that they presented those cards was just like, hold on, I gotta call BS right there. Something doesn't look right based on just precedent alone. the way in which they released these cards or tried to hype them up was just totally off the books. And that was why I made the first video that I made about them. Like, something's fishy. And sure enough, I mean, I think we can all say now that the reason why they didn't show many direct comparisons between Turing and Pascal was because Turing wasn't that big of an improvement from just a raw FPS perspective. And that's what people understand. They understand FPS. They don't understand, RTX ops, whatever the heck those are. Like, this just made up metrics by NVIDIA to compare cards that have all these extra features that a lot of people probably won't even use. So again, this is the first generation of this stuff. I expect 2-3 generations down the line it will be pretty mainstream for NVIDIA and maybe even AMD. So we'll see how AMD responds. Okay, let's see. Scrolling up here. Jake Definus asks, what's your opinion on RTX 2080 benchmarks? I just said that, I guess. I'm not impressed. I'm really not. And that's something that I basically called from the beginning. I'm just like, there's a reason why it's a little concealed. It's on the DL, and the reason why is because it's really not. I mean, for $700, $800, sometimes more than that, for just a 2080, you're getting 1080 Ti performance. I mean, within 5 or 10% in most cases. And I'll be getting a couple cards in soon to do my own tests. But from watching my colleagues benchmark these cards, I really think that it's I don't know. It's a side grade. It's not really an upgrade. So, yep. That's about all I want to really say on RTX at this point. I want to hold the rest of my comments for after I've personally tested them. I know the price is going to be something that I'm always going to be against, but you never know. And we got to test. Is it wrong to say SLI if it's NVLink? But you guys know what I mean. Power draw, thermals. I want to test all of that with a couple cards I got coming in, and we'll see. Bazinga, I missed your other super chat earlier. I'm going to scroll up to that one first. Let me see here. He says, did you say you are 23? I have underwear older than you. Oh, that's good, my dude. And then he says, Microsoft finally made something that did not suck, a vacuum cleaner. Oh, that's worth it. That's good stuff. Let's see. I like the live stream skin you're using. I actually made this myself. I just kind of... It probably looks like I made it myself. Maybe you weren't complimenting me, but anyway, I did make it myself. So if you're impressed by it, cool, I appreciate it. But if you're not, whatever. I totally understand. It took me like 20 minutes to do this, and that's just because, I don't know. I don't really think that these live streams need to be that professional looking. This is just me talking into a C920 $40 webcam to you guys because I just want to answer questions. I want to do that every week so you guys feel like you're getting a more personal touch to the channel. All right, let's see here. An odd fellow asks, at Science Studio, hi, I'm getting a 360 mil IO. Is it okay to put all fans in a pull config to make it easier to clean? Will it still cool well? Sure. Yeah, there's really nothing majorly wrong with that. I've run rads in that config before. So what he's saying is you can have the fans pull in. So if this is the inside of your case here, then you have your rad, and then you put your fans on the inside, and you have them pull air, right? So doing that is going to give you basically the same effect. So instead of pushing air through fins, you're going to be pulling ambient air through fins. And like again, this is something that I haven't really run serious tests on. I'm sure there are other channels, other websites that have documented this more stringently than I ever have. But in my experience, there's very small differences between the two configs. Maybe some differences in sound, the way it sounds right, because instead of pushing air into fins, which do create some degree of resistance, you're pulling air through them, and I don't know how that will affect thermals or sound, but in a general sense, based on what I've done, because I've done both before, I don't notice much of a difference at all. Okay, let's see here. Erickson Sension, what's your opinion on the Thermaltake suppressor F31? F31. I gotta look that up. F31. Totally mistyped that. Suppressor. Oh, this is a case. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is the one that looks almost identical to the Fractal Design case. Yeah. I'm not. It's just because the design itself is such a ripoff, blatantly. Yeah, literally, you look at that case and you think, I've seen that before. The reason why you've seen it before is because it looks just like a Fractal Define R5. or R6, whatever. So yeah, it is so similar. How is that even a thing? Jeez, like, I know that other people are like totally against thermal tape because they do blatantly copy stuff. And that's fine. If you want to boycott the company, whatever. People rip each other off all the time. This is not an isolated thing for just thermal tape. I think it's a little ignorant to just single out one company and say that only one company rips other companies off. I mean, come on. Ideas are literally stolen on a daily basis between all these companies. They're competitors. You want to improve your competitors' design so that you have a competitive advantage. But yeah, that right there, I mean, that I'll straight up say that looks just like, at least externally, just like the fractal design, Define R5, I think. It's just, or Define S, I guess. Yeah, it looks like Define S. So, yeah. Okay. Gene Epstein says, have you ever made homemade ice cream? It's really good. I don't know what is happening right now. So can you fill me in, please? You can rewind the live stream if you want to be 20 or so minutes behind. Well, actually, we've been doing this for 40 minutes. Jeez. Yeah, that's pretty fast. Let's see. It's MMS, so like if I have every fan as intake, it will generate positive air pressure. Yes, because I mean, assuming that there's not like a wide open back panel where air is just flowing smoothly, you'll have some sort of resistance keeping air trapped in there, and that is the positive air pressure as a result. Let's see here. Nick and Mick, are you still using the Rode Video Micro? I'm not. I haven't used that in a long time, actually. I have the Rode Video Mic Pro Plus now, which is, it's a better microphone for several applications. I'll be doing a review on that mic soon, comparing it to the $50 mic. Let's see. Ben D. I bought an open box RX 584 gig, and the card is running with 1100 base and 1850 memory. Excuse me. And both is 200 less than rated. Oh, okay. Does anyone know why it is doing this? Custom BIOS? Are you talking about your clock speeds? Usually these will be self-regulating. If you go into a Crimson drivers, or Relive drivers, what do they call them now? You can go in there and actually tweak those. You can tweak voltages, you can undervolt. You can usually tweak all that stuff. So if it's doing that, it's just usually the preset out of the box, but you can manipulate those to quite a great extent. Okay, let's see. Scrolling down. Oscar, thank you for that $5 super chat. Oscar, I'd like your opinion. What should come first when upgrading? A 1440p and over 60 Hz monitor or a GTX 1080 Ti GPU? I'm running a 970 with an i5 4660. Okay. So you're on Haswell, you've got a GTX 970, and you're asking about a higher refresh rate 1440p-ish monitor, so something, let's say 120, 144 Hertz, or GTX 1080 Ti. My worry is that if you upgrade the monitor first, you're not really going to see the frames. You would, but you would have to drop in-game settings. So if you're comfortable dropping in-game settings to a certain extent, then that's fine. I think it's a better bet to just go with the monitor first. I can say though, if you're going to buy the GTX 1080 Ti, the same issue is going to exist. Assuming you're on a 60 Hz monitor right now and maybe 1080p, a 1080 Ti is super overkill for that. So maybe instead of getting a really expensive graphics card or a really expensive monitor, how about getting a monitor that's 1440p and 120 Hz or 144 Hz for $350? Pixio's got a really good one I reviewed recently, and then getting like a GTX 1070. That's a big upgrade over a 970. So, you don't need the best if all you're going to do is play in 1440p. I have 1440p 165 Hz monitors, and I play on 1070 Ti's, and that maxes the screen res out. So, you don't need the best for it to look good. Will says, at everyone PUBG. Andrew Wright asks, hey Greg, can you make a podcast? If I made a podcast, I've had a few people ask me this. If I made a podcast, I would just, I don't know, I feel like I would ramble the entire time. I guess if you guys really like to hear me ramble, then sure, it'd be a little ego booster, I guess. I don't know why else you would want to hear me talk unless it was about a specific subject. I really like astronomy and physics. I would love to have podcasts like that. It would just require me to write the content. And if I didn't write it, if I just kind of freeballed it, then I feel like I would just be like, the whole time, and you would get annoyed by the number of uhs you heard because I was trying to, gather my thoughts. So yeah, um, maybe at some point, if I get someone to script Science Studio videos, someone that I trust to script these videos, then maybe I could script my own podcast episodes or whatever session. So yeah, that's a possibility. I appreciate you asking that though. Okay, let's see here. Oh yeah, so Brian's alluding to the number of CUDA cores shut out of the 2080 Ti. That's what it looks like. So he's saying here 4608 CUDA cores. Yeah, I think how many? I'm trying to think of how many SMs were shut off from the standard TU102 or it's TU102, right? I don't remember how they do this now. 72 SMs fully enabled. Let's see. Well, no. Is it 72 fully enabled? Because I see TU102 with 4608. But in the TU104 is 3072. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I know that it was cut down slightly. I read that somewhere. 4352. Okay, 4352 and 4608 is the full. Okay, I see what you're saying. So 4352, I assume, is the 2080 Ti. I haven't looked it up recently, but that sounds right. So 4608. So you're saying that there's probably gonna be like a Titan whatever, Titan R or something that ends up being the full T102. But I mean, think about it. If they're already charging $1,200 for the 2080 Ti or $1,000, whatever it actually ends up being, then it's gonna be. Yeah, this is going to be a $2,000 card maybe that we're talking about here. Going off of precedent, if the 9080 Ti was $600 or the 1080 Ti was $600-$700 and the Titan was $1,000-$1,200, it's usually it's about a 2-to-1 ratio here from a price perspective. Probably looking at around $1,500 to $2,000 for whatever Titan, if there is a Titan. Although I do expect that this will be it. I mean, if they release something above this, it's literally just a cash grab for the peeps that want the best, and that sounds like something NVIDIA would do. So yeah, because it's a cut down TU102 core, that would make sense. Let's see, Chris said something I wanted to read. A Strix 1080 Ti 2.5 slot will be really close to the side panel glass on a case with a vertical GP mount. Yeah, even if it fits, don't do it. Thermals will be trash. And that's true. I tried to do that recently with a 980 Ti that I bought that was a 2.5 slot card, and it was like, I mean, there was nothing between it and the glass. And as good as it looked, I just couldn't do it because it was just going to roast alive. It was going to roast alive. Brian's doing taxes, my dude. I understand what you're going through. Taxes, though. You guys doing taxes in September? That's kind of weird. We do taxes after it depends on your fiscal cycle, but taxes in the States are usually between January, February, and like March, April, in that time zone. So yeah. Wasn't the Titan V about $3,000? Yeah, but I mean, that Titan V was different, right? Because the Titan V, I take that back. It wasn't different. The Titan V is a different architecture, I should say. So I don't think it was ever intended to be, and it's $3,000, right? Now you could buy it for $3,000. But the Titan V is so weird because like it was right between Pascal and Turing, and that was the only card we got from the Volta architecture. So I don't really know what NVIDIA is doing here. Like, to be honest, going through this stuff just seems 21 billion transistors, 3D stacked memory. So yeah, HBM2, I think, right? HBM2? There's HBM2 in this. Yeah, HBM2, 12 gigs. Yeah, I mean, and it's got tensor cores, 5,120 CUDA cores. It's just, I don't know. The Titan V is just one of those weird, like, placement holders. Like, it's just a weird placeholder for an architecture that really was phased out as quickly as it was phased in. Unless they're gonna, I mean, we never know. What they might be doing is using Volta for the lower end cards. I don't know if this has actually been widely talked about. Probably has. I'm thinking now that's probably what they're doing. So I can't imagine an RTX 2060 or 2050, right? Why would you have RT cores and stuff in lower end hardware? To me, that makes no sense. Because you're cutting it at its knees based on the video buffer and the number of CUDA cores, SMs. It just doesn't, I don't know. It's all kind of confusing right now. We'll see. Tech Addict says, at Sony Studio, keep the great work up, man. Also, would you get a GTX 2080 or 1080 Ti for 650 US? Also, would you pair it with a Ryzen 7 1700 at 3.7 gigahertz? Look, yeah, you could pair either of those GPUs with that CPU and be fine in most titles. 3.7 gigahertz is a little low, and you might be crippled from a memory perspective. The biggest thing with Ryzen 1 is try to keep your memory frequency as high as possible, timings as low as possible. It really matters with Ryzen. So if I had to choose between a 2080 and a 1080 Ti, I mean, if you're going to spend 650 no matter what, you might as well get the 2080. But I think you get a lot more bang for your buck if you go with a 1080, especially used, or a 1070. I think you could SLI two 1080s for $300 a piece, spend $600 and get SLI 1080 performance, which, assuming the game supports SLI, is gonna be slightly better than a 1080 Ti, single 1080 Ti, but more power draw, all that stuff. Anyway, I'm just kind of floating around here. Let's see. Okay. Oh, that's true, Mark. Yeah, self-employed have to do quarterly typically. Yeah, in the States, it really depends on what you call yourself in the eyes of the state. So an LLC can choose to do yearly taxes if it's a pass-through sole proprietor type deal, which is what I do. So I file taxes once a year, which means I have to save money when I pay the government back, because my money isn't taxed when Google pays me. So it's like it's all 1099. So basically, I'm a contractor for Google, and they're paying me a royalty or whatever, a commission based on the number of views that I bring to videos. But I have to report all that income. So I have to save a certain amount of money every month to make sure that I have enough at the end of the year, at the end of the fiscal year, to pay the government. So yeah, just some behind the scenes finance stuff. Anybody with with their own business knows about that. But for those who don't, that is what we have to do. Either do it yearly or quarterly. You could do it monthly even. But we usually elect for quarterly or yearly, just because having to do it every month would be a pain, and quarterly is nice, but because you don't have to save it the whole time, you're not tempted to spend it, but it just means more work doing taxes every quarter. But that's true, that's probably what Brian's doing. So anyway, all right, give me some good questions, folks. I need some good stuff here. We got about 10 minutes left in the normal stream. If I get some good questions, then I'll keep the stream going, but it looks like, I know I titled this video specifically for the Ghetto Studio stuff, but again, if you got in just now and you're not sure what's going on with respect to the Ghetto Studio giveaways, this live stream will be archived very soon. Also, if you want to rewind the live stream, I think you can do that still. I think I have that turned on playback. Then you can rewind it and see what I talked about in the beginning. Let's see. A Little Loony, $5 super chat. Thank you, my dude. Been a while. Thought I would say hello. I appreciate that. Thank you for dropping by on this. What is it, Sunday night for you, or is it Monday morning? Either one. Either way, I appreciate it. If it's a Monday, Jesus, more kudos to you, because I know how slow Mondays can be for folks, so it's okay. James Hall, I think you know the answer to that question. Let's see. Lucid Gamer 360, do you think an i5 3550 bottlenecks a 750 Ti? No, I don't think so. I've had a similar config before. I had an i3 4150 and a 750 Ti, and those were pretty balanced. In most of the games I was playing, it was pretty balanced. Okay, if you spam the chat, you're going to be put in timeout. Don't spam the chat. Let's see here. Tech Yes City. What do you think of Dadman becoming the new owner of Tech Yes City? It's Leaf. Are you passing on Turing, or are you going to buy an RTX card? Honestly, I get these cards sent to me. I don't buy new graphics cards very much. If I'm going to buy any graphics card, it's usually a used one, just because most of what I do, I buy them for testing purposes. I'm not worried about them lasting very long, if that is ever an issue with used cards, which it's usually not. So I just bought 3 used cards very recently. Check out my latest video if you haven't already. I talk more about that there. But yeah, usually I'm either send stuff or I buy used, because to me that makes way more sense than buying new. Will's already telling everybody that we're gonna play PUBG after the stream, so I guess I have no choice but to play PUBG after the stream. Rip. Oh gosh. Excuse me. Let's see. Sukum. I'm planning on building my own case and water cooling loop. Ooh, I'd like to use copper piping and copper components. Would it be okay to use copper fittings with solder? Cleaned, of course. Yeah, I think so. I don't see anything immediately wrong with that. If someone knows how to better answer that question, then Sure, but if I was doing something similar, I would think it would be okay. Usually I do nickel-plated copper, just because copper tends to react a little more than nickel does. But I don't see anything wrong with it, really. If you're going to like powder coat it or something like that, then I think you'll be perfectly fine. A lot of fittings are copper fittings. So let's see, I know I have Alpha Cool fittings that are copper fittings, put it that way. Let's see, Ryan Strachey, approximate release date for 9th gen Intel chips? I have no idea. I'm not the guy to ask. I don't really follow rumors. So that's just something that, yep. Let's see here. What is the best ITX case? Fractal Nano? The Fractal Nano's cool. I like the NZXT H200i a lot. I think it's a really cool ITX case. The Manta was it was a weird kind of quirky case, but I like the Manta as well. I think, yeah, if I had to choose, I really like the H200i. I really do, or the H200. I like that case a lot. So, let's see. Let's scroll them back up here. Will doing Will things. That's right, Pyro. Will's doing them real things. Salazar Burns. Building a NAS. If it will only use hard drives, would I be fine without gigabit switch? It's a question for a Will. I've never built a NAS. I want to build a NAS so bad. I think a gigabit switch is fine. Depends on how many... I don't know if I should even say anything because I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm pretty sure you'll be fine. Pretty sure. Unless I'm misunderstanding the question. Gigabit switch, isn't that for... To me, it's a network thing. Let's see here. More physics vids. Yeah, we could do that, maybe. Got to stay true to the title, or to the name of the channel. So yeah, I think at some point we'll do it. Jason says, they see him scrolling, they hating. Oh, jeez. Okay, you guys are super chill. We got about, 300 people watching? Not bad for a Sunday night or Monday morning, again, depending on where you live. I appreciate the views. Look, so I like the podcast idea. Someone brought that up. I just brought it to my attention again. I think at some point I might do a podcast. I'll get it all professional so I sound like a radio host or whatever. I'll try to sound as professional as possible. And we'll pick some really cool subjects and we'll just dive into them, we'll just see. But I have my reservations about that because that's a lot of time. Podcasts take a lot of time to plan if you do them right, unless you just want to speak freely. And if I want to stay true to science, if I want to stay true to the channel and most of the things that we try to uphold here, it really wouldn't make much sense for me to just ramble in front of a mic and say something wrong because I didn't do enough research or didn't have the info in front of me. So we'll see. But I like the idea. Maybe we'll do something totally off the books, something just different. Also, again, with respect to the giveaways, just to recap, if you have a Ghetto studio, a Ghetto setup, I want you to film it with your phone. Just keep it to a minute or so. I don't want 5-minute videos. I'm not going to watch the whole 5-minute video. We're going to have tons of submissions, I expect. Keep it to around a minute. Film your setup. Film your desk, your case, your monitor. Show me around. Tell me what's in your system. And then you're going to upload that video to your YouTube channel. If you don't have one, make one. It takes like a minute. And then you're going to send me that link to a special email that I'll give you in the dedicated video that will be released on the channel soon. That will have all the official rules. I'm just kind of running through these again. Your system's got to be working. It's got to be a desktop. And you have to be 18 or older unless you have a parent or guardian represent you, which is pretty easy to do. So if you're under the age of 18, just have them do that. You'll be good. I just wrote the word destroy. I don't know why I did that. Isn't that weird? Okay. Destroy. Must be working, must be desktop. That's what I meant to write, not destroy. Desktops only. 18 years and older. Okay. And Will says, no point entering, boys. Mine is the most ghetto of them all. Will's is pretty sketchy. Will has a lot of hardcore stuff going on in his studio, but it's just sketchy. Like you just walk in, you're like, there's no way this guy gets any work done, but he does. He figures it out. The Weak Link says, we get so destroyed with pricing in Canada. Prices are way better in US. Yeah, I've definitely heard that more than once. So yeah, I I can relate indirectly because I've been in other countries where prices are extremely expensive. I'm like, I could not live here. I could not imagine spending this much more money equivalently for parts that, again, are the same. So, oh gosh. Okay, so those are going to be the rules. Again, I don't see too many objections, people freaking out in the chat box. So maybe this will be a thing. We'll see. We'll see if we can build hype around this and turn it into a weekly thing. So every week someone will win $100. You know, that'd be something new. And then to bring traffic to the Twitter so we can grow our Twitter presence, we're going to have everyone vote on Twitter. So if you don't have a Twitter handle, I'm sorry. That's just what I want to use for voting because it's very simple to set up on my part. And the response is pretty straightforward, and everyone can see the results right away. So I think that's what we're going to do. And you'll be hearing something about that soon, probably this week. There might be subtle changes, but I think in general that's what I want to do. I think it'll be creative, it'll be fun, funny, and entertaining for you guys. Something different to look forward to on the channel every week besides my face on a live stream. I think I missed a super chat. Let me scroll back up here real quick. Leven Castillo, thank you for that $2 super chat, my dude. Ryzen 7 1700X, 16 gigs of RAM or 2 8 gigs, which is better? For Ryzen 1, you're going to want 2 8 gigs. I wouldn't go with 4 modules. Ryzen 1 tends to do a lot better with 2 sticks of RAM, in my experience. So I would stick with 2 there. Let's see. CJ Conception. Hey Greg, have you dealt with a buggy Asus motherboard? Not really. You mean buggy from a BIOS perspective? Usually you can update your UEFIs and that'll get rid of the bugginess. But if it's doing some weird stuff like booting up and then shutting down and then turning back on again and shutting down and then turning on permanently, like that's usually it's just power cycling. It's I don't know. I've had a couple boards do that. Jorge, my Twitter is in the description. It's in the description of every video. So yeah. I think that's what we're going to keep it at. I think we're going to call it quits now, 10 p.m. If you guys have no more, didn't like y'all have many questions this week, maybe we will next week. So again, every week, if you have questions, look forward to the Sunday nights, Monday mornings. And thank you guys for sitting around listening to me talk about the Ghetto Studio stuff. I'm excited. I think this will be really cool, really fun way to interact and just to have a laugh. You know, like not to make fun of people and their setups, but just to genuinely be interested and entertained by the way people do things. You know, because if they've left it that way for a long time and it looks a little ghetto, it's subjective. But if it does, then you know, we can critique, we can have a laugh or two, and then maybe you can take something to heart and fix something up. If you think it looks fine the way it is and you don't want to change anything, that's fine. I'm not trying to get you to, you know, change your lifestyle. But if you're willing to contribute, be a good sport, I think this will be a really fun thing, interesting and different thing in the tech space. So we'll see. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to play PUBG with us, we're going to play right now. If you haven't joined the Discord already, I'm sure the mods are going to link it right now. I'm sure Will's going to link it right now. You guys see the Discord link. It's also in the video description again. Click that link. You'll join the Discord. It's free, open to the public. We talk, we voice chat, we do everything together in there. Brian does as well. Brian is in the tech, it's the Science Yes City Discord. So Brian and I, both of our channels share that. So we have similar fans, and so we kind of share that whole community. And we play a lot of PUBG together. That's something I like to do with fans is play specifically with them in custom matches and stuff. So if you like PUBG, hop into that. Otherwise, we're gonna call this one quits. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Thanks for the likes. I love that as well. And we're gonna end the live stream by doing an awesome emoji splash in the chat box. So if you have your favorite emoji locked and loaded, we do this at the end of every live stream. I want you to spam the chat right now with your favorite emojis. You're not gonna be banned or put in timeout for spamming. You have my permission. I'm gonna give you a personal shout out if I see you scrolling through the comments. Give me your favorite emojis. And I'll wait for the live stream to catch up to live in the chat, and then I will give you shout outs as we end the stream. Oh, look at Brian. Oh, look at Nolan. I appreciate that. Will spam in the Discord. You guys see the Discord. That's the one you want to click. Click that, and you'll join the Discord right away. What's going on, WoW? I see ya. CJ Conception. Don't listen to Will. You can spam it. It's totally okay. Sherrod Nandi. Quedog 2373, James Hall, Salazar Burns, Sherrod Nandi, I see you again, Jeff Phillips, Zoltrix, No One, Tech Tuner Life, Wasabi, Sherrod again, FPV, I see Kofasa, Drew B. I see Chris. What's going on with them money emojis? Bazinga, I see you again there. Storm, Donshin, that Aussie guy. Oh, there are so many of them. Clell Biggs, what's going on? KB Vapes, Aramil 200. Josu RC, Leighton, oh my gosh, too many of them now. Will's just completely blocking you guys out. Will, stop it. Oh my gosh. Matthew Mills, let's see. Will, I'm gonna ban Will, I swear. I'm gonna ban him right now. Mark Yates, Jay Meister, Trav B, German Santos, Bert, Dimitri A, Grandmaster Funk, and all you other good people out there. Frag a lot, I see you as well. Thanks you guys for being so awesome. We're ending the live stream now. Thank you for watching, and again, stay tuned for next week's live stream. We do this every weekend, folks, so I'll catch you then. Thanks for watching. Till next time.